let's take another look at GameMaker. Alright, we found ourselves back in GameMaker once again, and yeah, so I have been testing out a few more things here between the episodes, and also I want to look into a few comments that were left. Number one, a comment left by GameMaker Engine themselves, so I did tweet at them, basically as the first episode released, so that is pretty freaking cool. That was actually really nice, so that is one thing. A couple of other things people pointed out is, for example, here in the player movement, so this is a thing that I've done before, that is like this, right? So I can move about over here. That's pretty cool. If one of the asteroids hits me, all of the asteroids get deleted. So that is the issue with doing instance_destroy and then destroying the asteroid. The way to fix that is in the asteroid right here, right? This is the collision event. Instead of doing object asteroid, you can also call other, and other is actually the ID of the actual other thing that impacted with you. So that is really useful. So now if we go back in here, I mean, the player is going to vanish as well, but at least if I hit one of the asteroids, you can see, there you go. The other one is still moving towards here, although the player is gone, and now it's just drifting away. There you go. So that was a pretty cool thing. Another really cool thing is under the creation code, if you add variables right here, those are also accessible inside of the code then. So for example, I can go in here and for example, I can say self dot, and you can see the test variable right here is available from the creation code. So that is also a very, very cool thing to note. So those are like two things that are interesting, and then you might see like the two other rooms that I've created because, well, I may or may not have done some testing over here. So the first thing I did is I created the rotation room, which is this one. I wanted to see, okay, how easy is it going to be to have something rotate around another object, because that's one of the things that I've done in Unity as well as a tutorial, and you can see, well, it is, it's pretty good. It's pretty, you know, with slowing up, slowing down, we can rotate around either direction. And if I hit space, then it's gonna rotate around on its own, and I can hit space again and it's going to stop. This was pretty cool. I was pretty happy with that, and also the fact that the animation just, you know, it's so easy to do the animations right here. Obviously, once again, the scalability is a thing that was put into question here, right? Like, how scalable is this, right? How big of a game could you make with this at some point? You know, all of those disparate, different small scripts and stuff like that. Would they get into the way of making a huge game? That is very much possible, right? That at some point you run into an issue where it's getting quite difficult to properly do everything. So that could very well be the case. But for that also, when it comes to these scripts, so I have the rotation script right here. So this is a script I have, well, it's basically just some simple math in theory. There's nothing else to it, but that is basically the idea. So a custom function over here, rotate around, where you basically put in the ID that is the thing that rotates, and this is the ID that is rotating around, and then the rotation speed is, well, the rotation speed, even though that is written wrong here, but that's fair enough. But with just that, I was able to basically make the things rotate around. So in the rotation room, you can see on the asteroids themselves, in the step method, you can see, so this is basically the logic over here. I can speed it up with pressing shift. I can space to should rotate, you know, to toggle that basically, and then you can see if that does the thing, then it's so rotating itself around the object Earth object over here. Pretty freaking cool. For that as well, with the keyboard check right here, that is another thing that a user mentioned. Basically, usually people do like to put their movement code in the entirety in the step method. That does make a lot of sense. I feel like, you know, making it specific for, you know, pressing WASD is a little bit limiting. But fair enough, that is a definite way to keep in mind. And then lastly, well, I do have another thing, and that is the shooting room. That's what I called it. And as another user pointed out over here, oh, you're probably going to make some sort of game where you're dodging asteroids. Not 100%, but almost. So basically, this is spawning asteroids, and I can shoot at them, and there you go. There's nothing, you know, crazy going on, and there's only 10 asteroids. But what is pretty cool is, well, first of all, we have this is pretty much the exact same setup that I had in Unity. So this is exactly how it looks like as well, which I find absolutely impressive because it was fairly straightforward to do. So number one, basically getting the ship at the bottom to look at the mouse. This was a very straightforward thing. We can actually take a look at it right here. So this would be in the step method. This is the image angle, and basically it just points to a direction, and the direction it points to is, well, from its own position to the mouse X and Y, and then you want to rotate it around by 90 degrees again, and that's as easy as that. And then global press left, that's basically just casting a raycast. Now raycasts in and of themselves actually do not exist in GameMaker. However, I found an incredible script right here. This is from Kaupenjoe over here, from the from Stack Exchange Game Dev over here. And basically, I mean, this is pretty much doing a raycast. Now, the way that it's doing the raycast here is it's doing it on the pixel basis. So it can sometimes be, in certain instances, inaccurate. But to be honest with you, most of the time, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be absolutely fine. Yeah, and I basically changed that. So there's a raycast with direction over here, and the direction is just from this position to mouse X, and then times 10, basically just extending the length of this. You can, of course, make, any sort of other like helper methods right here, right? It's not that deep, to be honest with you. Yeah, when you hit it, then you destroy that instance, and there you go. Which is that is pretty freaking cool that works. When it comes to the drawing of the line, you can see, you can literally just call draw line with color with an X, Y, mouse X and mouse Y over here. This is the width of the line, and this is the color of the line. And then you just need to make sure to call draw self, otherwise the actual sprite itself is not going to be drawn. And just with that, you have a, very, very basic game. Obviously, it's, it's nothing crazy, but it works, and it's pretty cool. And I'm really happy that this worked fairly straightforwardly, all things considered. So as previously mentioned, I will definitely be using GameMaker a little bit in the future, like in between all the other engines, because I am really enjoying my time over here. I think that this is a very intuitive way, at least for me, the way that this is set up, with the way that the objects fit together and the way that the events fit together and all of that. So that is a very, very interesting thing for me. I really would like to look into it a little bit more. So there is a very, very good chance that at some point, possibly like, let's say next year or something like that, you might be seeing GameMaker tutorials on this channel as well, because I don't know, man. This is like, I'm enjoying myself quite significantly over here. It's really cool. All right, that's basically it for this update right here. In the last episode on the left here for GameMaker, we're just going to go over a few more details that are quite important, actually. And also giving my last thoughts. You could probably guess what those are. And then on the right there is a completely different engine with a similar first look at series. Hope to see you in one of those videos. So, yeah.